Alright, this one today talking about a great word and variations of the word, all of them very useful. So the word is civil, and it's hard to define just the word civil, so I'm going to use it and show you how it mixes into all these words so you can use them all and kind of get the feel of it. If you are acting civil towards somebody else, it means that you're acting you don't maybe you don't really like the person or you're not happy with them at the time. Maybe you're in a fight, but you're acting reasonable. You're kind of acting mature and like an adult. So I'll give you an example of when you could say, we're not getting along very well right now, but at least we're being civil to each other. So I'll give you a good example here. So you break up with a girl, and these things are always emotional, and people usually hate each other at least for a while after the breakup. But let's say you have mutual friends, so you got the same group of friends, and a month after you break up, you have to go to some kind of a function, an event, a party, whatever. So you're both there, you broke up, maybe it wasn't very good the way you broke up, you don't like each other. But you don't want to ruin everybody else's time, right, when you're at the party. So if you're both adults about it, no one's going to be kind of a psycho, then you should be able to be civil. And if you're civil, it would be something like this. Let's say the girl's name was Betty. It's kind of a weird name now, but anyway. So, I go up, oh, hi, Betty, how are you? How's everything going? So it's kind of being fake in a way, but it's just, it's faking being polite without making a big scene. You're just being sort of normal to each other. It's not awesome, but at least you're not getting into a big screaming match. You're not going crazy. You're not being in a fight. And if someone did do that, which does happen, so imagine a couple breaks up, they go to a party a month later, and then they start fighting, throwing wine glasses at each other. Everyone's going crazy. Someone can say, hey, why would you do that? You guys should at least learn to be civil to each other. So that means just like act normal. Or if a couple, gets a divorce and they have a kid, maybe they have to meet each other every once in a while, and it's always uncomfortable, but they should at least be civil to each other. So it just means, act normal, even if you hate certain things about the person. That's what being civil is about. Or, maybe you're not in the best relationship with your boss, but if you meet him somewhere or her, you should be able to be civil, just be normal is what it means, without, being all emotional and ridiculous. Civilized. This is an interesting one. If you say that a society is civilized, it can have a couple of different meanings. One meaning is basically that it's they're not totally poor country people. And I'm not saying this to look down on the country people, but we don't usually call that civilized. Like, if people are so poor that they're earning, 10 cents a day, and they don't have TV, they don't have information, they don't have education, we usually say that that's not very civilized. So that's one way of using civilized. It's not like a society has formed where it's like a modern society. We usually call that civilized, even though in a lot of ways it's kind of pathetic, but we call that civilized, a civilized society. And then there's another way of using civilized where people say, they kind of look at the elite people wearing suits and tuxedos and, like a red carpet formal dinner. You said, oh, that's highly civilized. Like it's even much higher than the normal people would act. They think they're all civilized, like someone drinking red wine thinking, this is excellent red wine, and just kind of being snobby in that way. They might think they're being extra civilized, kind of like a real high someone who's very highly educated and from a wealthy family, and they act all proper, and it looks arrogant and stupid, but some people think that is another way of being civilized. So anyway, that's what that means. Civilization is just a society. It's a group of people. So I could say, we could talk about ancient Rome, ancient Greek, or ancient Greece. Just these periods of time and place in the past, and there was a group of people there. They were civilizations. So like a big city or a country or just a group of people living together, it's kind of a civilization. This is interesting. So it's not a good thing, but it's interesting. Civil war. So you know what a war is? War is when usually two countries are fighting against each other. They're bombing each other, killing each other in a big fight. But a civil war is inside a civilization. It's inside one country. So it's when one half of the country is fighting the other half of the country. So a lot of countries have had this, and many countries, or some of them, are still having this. So it's one country, and maybe the East is fighting the West, or the North is fighting the South, or this group is fighting that group. So two big groups, huge groups in one country that are fighting together to get power for the entire country. That is a civil war. And a civilian is just a regular person that is not in the army. So I'm a civilian because I'm not in the army. Unless you're a soldier, which you're probably not, you're a civilian too. Even a soldier who's not actually fighting is also a civilian. So most people are civilians, just people. And when countries are at war, they try to kill and fight the other soldiers. That's what they're supposed to do, but they don't always succeed. Sometimes they have an accident. Maybe it's on purpose. I don't know. I'm never in war. I don't like war. But the point is, if they kill an innocent civilian, that's a terrible thing. That just means they accidentally killed a normal person that had nothing to do with the war. So if some country is going around dropping bombs on, or shooting a bunch of people, blowing up a building, and some people die that you're trying to kill, well, sometimes other people that you're not trying to kill die. And that's when we usually talk about civilians. We talk about innocent civilians, unfortunately, die in wars. And that happens in all wars, unfortunately. So they're just kind of regular people that have nothing to do with war. That is a civilian. So a lot of stuff with civil, civilized, all this stuff. I'm going to write it up as usual. So check the site out every single day for the new lesson. LearnEnglish232.com.